All right, we are back with Behind the Sign. We got a guest from Charleston, South Carolina, Trad Bastian. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm
How's
fantastic. Is your
how,
market
how's your
is your market
no, go
lighting
ahead.
up like ours?
Yeah, man. It's been I would say the last 2 weeks of the year until about mid-February was just bananas, and then it slowed for like a second, and then it's picked back up. I mean, I've been in five multiple offer situations in the last 2 weeks.
Yep,
Three of which were with the same buyer.
that's crazy. Trying to buy
It's
investment
nuts,
properties,
man.
or they're just not winning and then coming
They're
back.
not. We weren't winning. We didn't win the first two, and
Yeah.
so the third one. And this is actually a wild story. We they missed out on the first two, so they really wanted this third one, and we gave them full ask. Everything was a clean offer.
Hmm.
There might have been a couple things they could have tweaked, but it was pretty clean. Um, and the seller wanted to wait and honor they had three more showings on Sunday. This was on Saturday. She's like, well, I want to honor those. I'm like, well, we gave you full price. Why? What's the motivation? Agent's like, well, she wanted to list for 525. And I was like, well, that's funny to myself. I'm like, that's exactly what I think it's worth. And my client had been like, we're going to go up to 525 if we have to. And I was like, all right, cool. So I was like, well, what if we gave her like a signing bonus to sign tonight
Yeah.
and not show the property because we don't want to get multiple offers? She's like, I don't know. I'm like, $5,000? She's like, I don't know. I'm like, all right, don't worry about it. I'll send you something. My clients were like, let's go to 515. It saves us 10 grand, gets her closer to 525, and we're
Yep.
done. We don't have to deal with multiple offers. She didn't sign it. She's like, I'm going to see what happens tomorrow. I was like, that's dumb, but okay. We get in a multiple offer situation. We ended up getting it for 505. I
Nice.
was like, well, there you go. That's a way to burn 10 grand.
And it was listed where?
It was listed at 499.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I had a similar story to that where I was kind of in that same spot as you. They listed the house and they had like 15 showings on that first day. And this is on a Saturday. And the guy wanted to wait until Sunday after open house because houses sell at open house, right?
All the time.
So I told her, I was like, I'm writing an offer. She goes, okay, just so you know that me and the seller agreed to wait until after open to review all offers. And I was like, whatever. So I write the offer and I say, we wrote it for $5,000 over. And I said, hey, look, if you don't accept this offer right here by 9 o'clock tonight, then it's off the table. And then we'll wait and see if you get multiple offers. Boom, signed
Yep.
it, done. Got it
And
done.
that's essentially exactly what I told them, because they're like, oh, well, you're gonna bring it, you're gonna extend the offer. And I was like, no, we're gonna wait until you get multiple offers. And so
Yep.
I asked her the next day, I was like, hey, so do you have any other offers? She's like, well, I've got two people saying they're gonna make an offer. We're gonna do highest and best by 7. I was like, well, let me know when you actually have an offer, and then I'll send you ours.
Yeah.
And it still burned her. The other people were at 500. We came in 5,000 over. So
Yeah.
with an escalation clause.
So we have escalation clause. We'll talk about that in a second. That's a good one. We have inspection periods here.
Yep.
And so they ended up holding the house open, and she said, we're going to keep it open for multiple offers until after inspection so we can get backup offers. Sorry, not multiple, but backup offers. And so I text her, I was like, how did open house go? And I'm like, did you get any offers? And each time just kind of bypass a question. And so I mean, my gut was telling me that they did get more offers and they got one higher, and they were going to wait for us to come back and change one thing on inspection. And I just told my client, I was like, I got a feeling it's up to you what you want to do. But if there's an outlet, something as simple as an outlet, and you ask them for an outlet, that gives them the ability to cancel the contract because you asked for one simple thing. And she's like, I'm not asking for a damn thing then. She's like, nope,
Yeah.
I want this house. So
Yeah.
that
I
worked
mean,
out well.
it's all, some agents give you more and work with you more. Not that they're doing anything detrimental to their client, but they're just being a professional and going, hey, listen, here's where we're at with the process.
Yep.
Like if I can't promise that my client wouldn't have not would have done the same thing as her client, but I would have been like, hey, listen, I would have called the other agents that were showing the property the next day and said, hey, how serious are your clients?
Right.
You know, are they looking to actually write an offer tomorrow? Is this the first time they've ever been out? Because
Right.
that right there will tell you exactly everything you need to know.
Exactly.
And so, I mean, and ultimately that buyer or the seller lost $10,000. I mean, like, I don't know, man.
It's a tough
funny.
game. It's a tough game.
Yeah, it's just understanding what you're doing and being able to read not only your clients, but also the agents and trying to read the seller based on what the agent's telling you, which is difficult.
Now, do you have a saturated market with real estate agents?
I mean, yeah, we probably got like 7 to 7,500 in our market, and our MLS right now, I think today was like 2,300 units.
Oh wow, you're worse than us.
Yes, I mean it's pretty bad. I mean, it's not as bad as like Miami or anything crazy like that, any big cities. But I mean, we got down to like 900 units. That was the lowest we ever got.
Holy smokes.
During like early 2022.
Yeah,
it was down to like 900.
Our lowest is we had 2,600. Or no, I'm sorry, 1,600 was our lowest, and we have 3,500 agents.
How many do you like? What was how many did you have on market like in 2019? Do you remember? Like roughly?
Yeah. Around 3 to 3,500.
Yeah. See, we were hovering around like 6 to 8.
So we normally 3,000 to 3,500. My thing has always been if we get below 3,000, then it's time to start doing some extra digging for houses. It gets hard.
Yeah.
But we can handle 5,000 easy.
Gotcha.
But our inventory's been low since 2012.
Yeah, I mean, ours kind of peaked up there a little bit. I think that had to do with the short-term rental laws changing, and a lot of inventory came on the market and sat because they bought it for short-term rental income, and it didn't hit that number, and they paid too much, so they were trying to get their money back, and it didn't work at long-term rental rate. Yeah. So a lot of stuff downtown was sitting for a while. I mean, it finally caught up, but it was nuts, man. There was probably like 25-30% more inventory just in that area than there was anywhere else because of those rules.
So I listened to your story about, the agent and maybe not acting exactly how they could get the best for their client. And there's a lot of that in this market with both of us having saturated markets with real estate agents. Do you think that now is the time that some of these sellers and some of these buyers are going to say, you know what? My friend might know this person, or this might be my brother's, best friend, or I need to get someone who's been in the business and knows what they're doing? Or do you think that we're going to continue to lose deals to the onesie twosies to people just because the
onesie twosies, man? I think that I think some will. So I had a similar situation come up where a client of mine, I've known her for years, but a girlfriend and sorority sister of hers got her license like I don't know. They bought a house a year and a half ago. Her friend got her license like 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, whatever, just licensed. And with all the ins and outs of selling and buying at the same time and how the market was and everything, she's like, listen, I just want to let you know that this woman got her license. We both know her. We're still going to work with you. I hope that doesn't hurt y'all's relationship. I'm like, if it does, I don't care.
If I'm being honest,
I like her, but I don't like her enough to lose money over it. So
yeah.
But so they had that conversation and wanted someone with more experience. But the problem is usually that person that's getting that, the first time home buyer is usually that one that you're going to miss that deal, or it's a referral from an agent to agent, or maybe friends or whatever. But I think people should vet their agents more anyway.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of the stuff that comes up on TikTok, and they're all talking about how shitty their agents were. I was like, man, that's kind of your fault.
Yeah.
You hired them.
I had someone call me up not too long ago and they were like, well, it's between, he goes, he said, I'm talking to 3 different agents. And he's like, I don't know if that's weird or not. And I'm like,
No, that's great.
no, I said, I encourage that, like absolutely talk to him. But he thought it was weird. And I go, what's weirder is the fact that most people who call me, I'm the only agent that they talk to. And I'm like, honestly, that's kind of weird.
I agree. I mean, it's like anything. Like I try to get 3 bids on any job I do for my clients, for myself, whatever. I'm shopping it because I want to make sure that I'm spending the money with the right person to get the job done properly.
Yeah.
And it blows my mind it's frustrating because I got a buddy of mine that I play baseball with, and I get it. It's a relationship business. So if you have the relationship, you can get the business even if you don't have the experience. And that's what's great and not so great about this industry. But he used his buddy from high school who had sold 0 homes ever to help him buy his house. And I was like, and then he did a for sale by owner for his home and called me with questions. Like, dude, get the fuck out of here, man.
I have,
like,
you know what? It's so funny. There's a guy in town that did that, and he called me up and he's like, yeah, she's a friend of ours, and she was a good real estate agent, been in the business a long time, but just asking me all sorts of questions about inspections. And I'm like, he's looking at a 3,500 square foot 2-story, which is huge here. And he's like, it needs this and this and this, and whatever. And he's like, so the seller said they'd give us 30 grand at inspection. And I'm like, that never happens. I'm like, take it. What are you questioning for? Like, trust your agent. And there's been a lot of times where I've said that. No, your agent's doing what's right. Trust your agent. If you don't trust your agent, then it's not a healthy deal. Like, you need to trust your agent. But I always ask who it is. If I know who the agent is, I'll say trust your agent. But I did have a client call me.
It's tough, man, because.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, man.
Oh, we got a delay now, huh?
It's just tough because, like, when you. Yeah, I think there is one.
That's right. I got you. Go ahead.
How are we doing now?
Good.
All right. So it's tough though, because like I've had that guy, and then I had another one that it was kind of a similar deal. The guy had sold nothing or very little. The husband wanted to work with me. The wife didn't, didn't. It wasn't she didn't want to work with me. She wanted to work with her friend. Okay. Yeah. So I get that, whatever. But she said, I want to help him. And I was like, he should be helping you. Like, that's his job. Mm-hmm. So I was like, why don't I split it with him 50-50? That way he gets help from me and you get help from me, and he'll get money that he would have never seen before because he probably will fuck it up.
Yeah.
And that agent said no, which was stupid. Missed out on 4 different houses for them. And they called me on one of them. They're like, hey man, we've missed out on 3. What can you help us at all with this offer? I was like, I literally can't. That's illegal. Mm-hmm. What I'll tell you though is, treat it like Vegas. Put out there what you're willing to spend. If you don't get it, you're not mad. If you do get it, you're not mad.
Yep.
That's all I can tell you. But I can't advise you because you hired an agent. You need to use your agent, and he should be calling his broker if he's having this much problem with it, or another agent in his office or whatever. So I felt like an ass about it because I like to help people, but at the same time, like, my hands are tied. I can't legally advise you because he could come back and sue me for trying to give you bad advice, and he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. So
we kind of have. Are we on a delay? Or are we good?
I think we're good.
Oh yeah, good. So we have that situation happening right now. We have someone from another town referred their sister to us. Actually didn't refer. We got the deal, like we got the client, and then she's like, well, I want my sister to get a referral fee. So you know how that goes.
Oh right? Yeah, I love that. I love that. You're like, well, if that's the only reason you're going to work with me, then fine, whatever. But
and it caused some drama because in our market is what she was hearing from her sister. In our market, we don't do it that way. In our market, we don't do it that way. So then that caused panic and stress.
Great.
On us.
That's fun.
And it's like,
and you're paying the sister.
yeah, yeah.
No, that's so fun.
Yeah. But you know what? Like at the end of the day, it came down to, look, if you don't want to do the deal and you don't trust us, then we can walk from this thing and we'll be totally happy with that. Because it was pretty stressful. But we run into that with other agents that just try and chirp in and, you're, what do they call Monday morning quarterback, right? Like,
oh yeah,
it doesn't work. Like, it's so frustrating.
Well, it's funny for me because I've had two agents that I've worked with from other markets to buy here. Neither of them have asked for a referral fee for themselves, which I find great. I mean, if they ask for it, I'd give it to them. I don't care, but it's nice of them not to. And both of them have looked to me and go, you know what? I trust you. That's why we hired you. Yep. If this is how things are done in your market, this is how things are done in your market. Yep. Let's go.
Yeah.
And one of those ones is the one that just got that multiple offer situation finalized. And she was like, and when I told them about the signing bonus thing to sign early and we'd give them a bonus, they're like, that's genius. Let's fucking do that right now. Yeah. And I learned that off of TikTok. That was the first place I found it. And I used it on a $1.8 million house, beachfront. Well, not beachfront, but on the beach. And my buyer was like, that's genius. How do you think of that? I was like, TikTok. He's like, no shit. I'm like, yep. It's not just for stupid dance videos.
I'm wondering if I saw that same video, because I don't know if I was talking to somebody or if I watched that video where they were talking, or a video on TikTok that was talking about the signing bonus, like the non-refundable. Here it is. Like if we walk for due diligence, whatever, that's yours. We want it. We want this house. We're going to figure it out.
Yeah. See, we didn't make it non-refundable. I made sure it was going towards the purchase price.
Well, but still, that's the other agent for not,
Yeah.
I mean, I personally, if I'm getting that, I know that if it's earnest money, or I don't know, do you call it money in escrow or do you call it earnest?
Earnest money.
Yeah. If it's earnest money, I know that there's a way I can get that back.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's always an angle, but
when someone comes in with the appraisal thing, they say, oh, we're going to waive the appraisal. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, but is it contingent upon financing?
Because if it is, doesn't matter about the appraisal.
It doesn't matter. Appraisal doesn't happen. The client's not going to get financing, and boom, it's done. So
exactly.
That's the other thing that can be kind of tricky, but it takes experience and someone understanding how these contracts work and understand how this market works, which is why I almost wish that our MLS would put like a $10,000 fee every year to maintain your license.
Oh man, I was just talking about this. I'm on a group chat with a bunch of guys from my old brokerage, and they're like, man, they should make the monthly and the annual dues so much higher to restrict some of the bullshit. I'm like, yeah, but you didn't want that when you got in, did you?
Right,
he's like, oh, you're right. No, I'd love to see more hours of education too, but I didn't have that it probably was even less when I started.
The way to curb that is like, if you're on a team, you could have a reduced amount.
Fair.
You're on a team and you're underneath a mentor, right? And then
presumably, yes.
Yeah. And then after so long, when you go out on your own, when you can afford it, then now you're legit because you actually have experience and you can afford it.
Yeah. No, I don't mind that at all. I think that it would be interesting because my counterpoint to their posing that was, I don't think big brokerages don't want that because it's going to limit their agent count.
Yep.
And NAR doesn't really want that because it's going to limit their agent count. And I bet there's a dollar amount specifically that they did a study on and said, hey, if we go over to this, we'll have less people sign up.
Yeah.
And, I know that the NAR does great stuff for us, but it is also, I feel a little disappointed sometimes too. So,
yeah, I donate to RPAC every year, the amount that you get a pin for, right? And when I saw that the seller firm commission being on Zillow, I'm like, I don't know, you know that, right?
Yeah.
Like they put the amount of commission going to the buyer's agent on Zillow, how much they're getting. And I've had clients come to me, well, you're getting this on this house. And I'm like, it's irrelevant. I didn't even know that. I don't even look at it. If it's on the MLS, I go sell it.
I don't. And I think that Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, man. Is like, there was I can't remember. There's somebody saying that they could search. They had to remove the search feature for the commission because people were searching to make sure they were only looking at stuff that was a certain percentage. And I was like, man, that is the last thing that I give a shit about.
Yeah,
I want to get the right house for my client
that's
because
it.
when they're happy, they're going to get me more business.
The,
And if I'm sitting here nickel and diming over a fucking half a point, I'm not making more money.
the true
It's
players in
just
this business don't pay attention to that. They pay attention to succeeding. They pay attention to winning for their clients because that just means you're going to win for all the people that they know.
exactly. If you give great customer service, and 97% of my business is sphere of influence and agent to agent referrals. I get very little internet leads as of right now. We're trying to change that a little bit, um, but whenever anybody sends me a referral or I'm talking to somebody on a referral page or whatever, I'm like, listen, customer service is the cornerstone of our business because if it wasn't, we wouldn't get repeat business from our current clients and we would be dead.
Yep.
So I mean, my business has grown just about doubled every 2 years up until about 2018. Then it kind of got stagnant and I've switched brokerages and have been picking it up. But I mean, in 18, I did 18 million and last year I did 20, right under 26.
Mm-hmm.
So it's now I want to double. I want to brand up.
And the only way you can do that is by adding team members.
Exactly. Cause you can't do, I was just talking to another team leader for another brokerage. And he was just like, man, 25 million solo is, you don't have a life.
Yeah.
You don't have a life. I mean, unless you have like a showing assistant.
I hit like 27. I hit like 27 back in 2018, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been between 27 and 30 ever since. Now, this year I went above, but the prices have gone up. So it gave me a higher average sale price. But, like to get over 30 was like, holy crap, I haven't done that yet. And it's been, I mean, every year it's the same amount, but it's because I'm solo, right? Like my wife's a real estate agent, but I don't take her volume. We're totally separate. She does her own business. And even I do have a team now, but I don't take my team volume. I still want my own numbers just because I'm kind of not so that way. But
yeah.
It's tough to grow once you hit that point where your time is gone. Like, not a whole lot of time to do anything else.
Yeah. Well, and that was what I was kind of chatting with about this other agent. Like if I can make $400,000 to $600,000 a year and do 0 transactions, I'm gonna be all right. Because that means I got a lot more time to be either home with my family, go on a vacation because I don't have to be there to run the business. The business runs without me, or at least for the most part.
You could at least get phone calls. There's no doubt.
Yeah, but I'm focused. All my focus is relationship building.
Yeah,
and I don't have to worry about doing anything else. Which I love doing that stuff. I love connecting with people and helping them, and then just putting them into our system where we've got amazing agents that are helping them out.
Yeah,
that's it. It just takes time to build it, and there's stumbling blocks along the way. It just it just time.
You have to be willing to go backwards for a little bit in order to get past that hump, and that's the part that scares me the most because. I mean, I've been through the trenches back in 2009. I got divorced and the market was crap. And I had all this child support based on when I was selling good number of real estate. And I'll tell you something, to change your child support, lower it is impossible, but to increase it, it's a piece of cake.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And so
it's like, hey, but I'm in a commission-based job. Like I don't make the same thing every year. How is that even? Yeah.
And then the judge will throw at you and they'll say, because they did. And they say, well, you have the potential to make.
Oh yeah. Sure you do. Sure you do.
Like you tell me when and how I'm going to be able to predict that.
Yeah. The real estate market just took the biggest dump ever. And you think I have the potential to make what I did 2 years ago? No, sir, that's not real.
I've been prepared for this drop, that we had, and it's the first time in a decade I haven't closed on a house in January. I typically close between 5 and 8 houses in January, 5 and 8 houses in February. And I think like right now, I've closed on 5 houses. And I did 92 deals last year.
Damn, man, that's a lot for one person. Like you did that solo?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
With my wife, I think we were close to like 45. But yeah, solo. So the hard thing for me though was when rates went up, those are October, November sales that would close January and February.
Yep.
And they just weren't happening. I mean, I'm sure you experienced it. And I was just like, I got 3 full-time employees that, I was lucky though. I saved a lot of money. I had a lot of money in my business account knowing it was coming. And my purpose is I want to keep them all. Even if I have to get my retirement, I want to keep them because it's a cycle, right?
Yep.
And if it changes and I've got all my people in place and we are locked and loaded,
you'll just
get it all back. Yep.
Yep. In a week, and that's the thing, man, is like, I feel like when all that happened with the interest rates, everybody's like, all right, market's shifting. You need to, bring down your expenses. And I was like, you need to bring down your personal expenses.
Yes.
Your business expenses don't need to drop. I mean, there's certain things you can cut, right? There's some fat to cut on anything, but your business expenses should stay the same. And there's certain things you should probably increase in this time, like marketing or hiring the right person or whatever it was. And I hired, I was looking for an assistant for probably about 5 months, and I hired an awesome assistant in September of last year. So like right when all that shit was going down, I'm like, fuck this. I'm hiring her because I need her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's been great. And we're like this close to starting to hire some agents to really build it out. And I'm playing with like the showing assistant model. And I want to do like a salary with a bonus so that because it's probably going to be a newer agent that doesn't have a ton of business that's going to come into the team. So I'm not going to see a bunch of them out there. That. Exactly. And that's what I'm, I talked to another guy and he was talking about how he has it as an agent and training program. And I was like, that's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect because they need the steady income because they don't have any deals. Mm-hmm. They'll get a bonus on each deal they close, and I'll teach them how to write a contract. They'll get paid to learn, and off of my sphere. And then as their sphere starts to come in play, then they can do their deals and we do it on a different split.
Yep.
So I was like, this is a great option. And then as they grow, they can grow within the team, or they can go do their own thing, however they want to do it. I mean, I don't ever want to have more than like, and I say this now, it might change, I'm sure, but I don't ever really want to have more than like 5 really rock star agents.
Right.
And with 5 that are doing deals, we can do 150 million easy.
Yep. I've got a full-time assistant that we hired like 8 years ago. She's been with us ever since then. And she is like, I mean, she's
You're
great.
Lucky, man.
I can go show a house and I can say, hey, write an offer for this person on this house. Just put the list price in there. She knows all the details. I would like your warranty, the cost, and whatever. So that way I'm sitting in the house of the people and they want to put an offer on it. I could just open up my loop on my phone, change the price, change the, a small couple things. Boom. All right. It's in your inbox. Get it signed. We'll get it sent over like right away. But she's been with us for a long time. And then as this market started to shift, I decided I was going to double down, and I hired, like a licensed assistant, someone who's licensed, but she's on a full-time salary. And the point is, it's going to be difficult to grow from a new agent in this business right now. I mean, you look at, like, I did a bunch of deals last year and I've got not nearly as many on the books. So anybody who hasn't been in the business, who had 0, is going to have 0, right?
It's going to be hard. Yeah.
So we brought her on, pay her salary, pay her fees, but she can still sell. So if she sells, those are her bonuses. Like, she still has the ability to go out and sell and make money. And if she needs to do something during work hours, I encourage it. Like, go. Like, if you need to go meet with someone for coffee, go. You froze on me. There we go. You're back.
Yep. You there now?
Yep.
Yeah, you froze up on me there for a minute.
Oh, you froze on me.
Oh, whatever. It's your fault.
Yeah,
That's
it's
my
your
fault.
fault.
Whatever, doesn't matter.
Did you hear me
Yeah.
say, like, I let her, like, if she wants to go sell a house or she wants to go to coffee with a client, go during work hours? I don't care, because
Yeah,
as she continues to grow her business, if she becomes a rock star, then we'll hire someone to fill her spot for the both of us.
absolutely. And that's the same thing with that agent in training deal. Is it's like you're not going to be. I hope that you're not in this position 2 years from now. Like
Yeah.
that is my hope, is that you grow as an agent and you know, either that or you get the fuck out of the business.
Right.
Because if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yep.
So, and that would be a great way to bring on a new agent without me feeling like I'm giving up way too much of my database income
Yes.
that I can't afford to give up,
Yeah.
because that's how I make my money. I need other agents to join the team that are going to bring business if I'm going to give them business. So this is a nice little in betweener, I guess.
Yeah. And she's definitely needed. Like, we consider the client care coordinator. So she'll set up, anniversary gifts for clients and do all that stuff that my assistant can't. She does paperwork. She kind of manages that side of what she does. But then on the flip side, she'll take the videos of me when I'm out, doing my TikToks, and she'll, she does my Instagram stories and helps with all of that. But on the other side, she's learning the real estate business too. So, like, I'll grab her, like, hey, I'm going to go to a walkthrough. That way she meets my clients. So if I can't make something, then she already knows them.
She can.
She knows what's going on. And you learn without having risk in the game.
Well, and that's the thing is, and I mean, and other piece of it too, and I was just kind of thinking about this as you were talking about that, is I could have that showing assistant or whatever as, and I know this is kind of maybe sound wrong, but like as a driver. And the reason that's beneficial for both of us is one, I can work while we're driving, and two, he or she can learn the roads and the areas and how to get around. Yes, Waze will get you there, but at the same time, you want to know, hey, this area really looks like X, Y, and Z, because there are certain areas that I'm like, yeah, I don't know if you want to go there, or that is perfect for what you want. That's perfect.
I did the driver thing. I did the driver thing with my sister-in-law. She was a teacher, and she's like, "Oh, I think I'm going to work at Starbucks this summer." I'm like, "No, I need a driver."
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Dude, it
Game
was like,
changer.
Well, yeah, because you can do all your emails.
Yep.
You could make your phone calls,
text, everything. Yeah.
Everything.
And actually be paying attention and taking notes while you're doing it. Because you can make your calls while you're driving, but you can't take notes. And I'm going to forget. And I've had that happen several times where I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get on that. And I just I need to have them text me, hey, can you just text me to remind me that I told you I was going to do X, because I'm going to forget by the time I get the office.
Literally just had that conversation today with Ellie. She's my licensed assistant. I just had that conversation with her today. Like, sometimes I'll need you to drive, because when we get busier, you'll start to realize it. And I mean, they learn too, because they hear you go on the phone,
100%.
And it's just a great opportunity. So if you're an agent out there, find an agent that can need some help.
It's a mentoring program that you're getting paid to do. And I like the salary with a bonus, because it limits my risk, it limits their risk and limits my risk on how much I'm paying out. And but yeah, I mean, like, and so you were saying how, you've had a slow start to this year. Man, I'm having the best first quarter of my career.
Oh, really?
It's unreal.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It is awesome. 2 of the deals were holdovers from last year. There were new constructions, but still, even without those 2, I'm still having the best first quarter of my career.
That's awesome.
It's wild.
My business has picked up. So, like, I'm behind, but I'm not that far behind, because this last week I sold 4. The week before that I sold 3, which those are all going to come to the board in 1 month. And I'm going to have, like, next Wednesday, I got 5 closings before noon. So
that's awesome, man.
It'll be a bonkers morning, but a great afternoon. So it's picking up. But, I've seen that this market, like, interest rates are so volatile. And it's like, once those rates jump up a little bit, it gets quiet. And then they drop a little bit and it gets busy. So it's like, you got to be on your toes all the time.
And it's just frustrating, I think, it's frustrating from the buyer standpoint for sure, and the listing standpoint. I mean, the seller standpoint, but the buyers for sure, because it's like they get excited, they get into the rhythm of looking at houses, getting ready to write offers or writing offers, and then missing out on them, and then the interest rate jumps on them randomly, and they're like, "Well, fuck! Now we can't afford X. We have to bump it down, and that's not where we want to be." And so I feel like if we can get to a point where that kind of just levels out a little bit, and just even if it stays high, just stay with one number.
Yes,
I think we'll be better off. But it's moving around so much. It's hard to. And I think that was the biggest problem with like July through December is the rates were just doing this and all over the place. So yeah, I mean,
what do you think,
tough, man.
What do you think this whole Silicon Valley Bank thing is going to do to the rates and the market in general?
I actually reached out to my my local lender here that I bank with, and I was like, listen, man, I'm thinking about taking all of my HELOC out, and tell me why I shouldn't go put all of that cash in my safe right now. He goes, because we're not Silicon Valley, and 80% of their business was venture capitalists that lost funding last year, and they were overexposed, and it was very dumb, and we're nowhere near. You're not at any risk. Don't do that. That's not smart. And I'm like, thank you. And I was watching something on TikTok where somebody was like, oh yeah, there's gonna be a run on the banks on Monday and this and that. I'm like, I just don't feel like that one bank is really going to destroy all banking. You know what I mean?
It's two banks.
Well, yes, I saw this.
And then there's some crap going down in Europe with some of the banks in Europe.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, the thing of it is like I think it could actually be beneficial in certain respects because nobody's putting their money in the stock market. The banks are kind of looking iffy. Where are you going to put your money?
Safest investment.
I mean, I'm not saying that everybody's going to be able to do that, but there will be people that have investments that they don't want to put anywhere else.
I know
they're going to park their cash.
I know you're getting in these fights on TikTok, but it's true. Over time,
it goes up.
Real estate always goes up.
It does. And listen, and I tell this to every single client I've ever had. I don't have a crystal ball. If I did, I'd be buying and selling everything.
Yeah, we say the same thing.
But if you look over the course of history, the value, and someone's like, oh yeah, but inflation. I was like, okay, I get you, whatever. But at one point it was worth 200. Now it's worth $1 million. And it happened over a 20-year span. Or the house I'm in right now, the house that I bought, I think sold originally for like 325, 340, something like that. I paid $600. I wouldn't list it for less than $9.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
And it's a Syntex built track home with vinyl siding. It's because it's in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina.
Yeah.
That's it. And I mean, it's a nice neighborhood too, but it's going to go up. Just don't sell in a down market and you'll be fine. And if you buy right and you don't overextend yourself, then you'll be able to hold through a down market.
Yep. Yeah.
So
we bought our place for $350, and I think right now we could probably sell it for $650. We've done quite a bit of improvement.
Yeah, it's insane.
I mean, value goes up.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that the last, 10 years has been nothing but up. Yep. And there's going to be, and I thought we were going to see it in 18. I thought we would see it in 19. I thought we would see it in 20, especially with COVID. We bought a house for, it was partially burnt, but we bought a house for $150,000, put about $350 into it, took it from 1,800 square feet to 3,400 square feet. And right now that house is worth $1 million. Yeah. Easy. We sold it for $680 in 2020.
Should have held it.
Because I thought, my wife would say the same thing. But at the time, I was like, I can be debt free with $250,000 in the bank, and I don't know what's going to happen with COVID. I'm going to take that money and run, and see what happens.
Absolutely.
And then nothing happened. Market kept going up. We bought another house, gained another $200,000 in equity.
Nice.
over 2 years. It was
Yep.
stupid. I mean, 300,000
Yep.
in 2 years. It's stupid, man.
And it's not going to go down.
Not over time, no. I mean, and if it does, we're all fucked. We're all fucked.
And
and the banks aren't going to be coming for money because they won't exist.
I did one of those. I did a video on that. That's what I said. We need to change our focus from we're going to wait for the market to crash and house prices to drop to we need interest rates to drop a little bit. And if we keep thinking the prices are going to drop, then we're all in big freaking trouble. And it isn't going to matter because you won't be able to buy a home anyway. Because you ain't going to, if you don't have the money today, you aren't going to have it then.
Nope. And that's, and I was talking with a client today who's thinking about listing his house. He's like, so what do you think the market's doing right now? I was like, well, because we listed it last year and it didn't move because he listed it higher than I told him to. And he was like, well, this one went for this. I'm like, yeah, but the kitchen's nicer. It's better layout, blah, whatever. He's like, what do you think? I'm like, I think we're listing it at 815, somewhere in that range. I wouldn't go higher than that. And right now in your zip code, there are 10 homes under $850,000 and yours looks nicer than 75% of them.
Right.
So do the math. Like somebody's going to we'll probably get multiple offers if the interest rates don't hike up. Yeah, and they're going to have a talk on, I think they have a talk on Wednesday or something like that. The Fed's going to come out and see. So we'll see what happens. But
yeah. Hey, the Fed's rate doesn't mean interest rates are going to go up.
Yeah, of course.
Everybody's got to chime in with that, don't they?
Somehow it always does, though.
It does.
I just wait for my lender to tell me what's going on. I try not to pay too much attention to it.
Same here. I mean, you look at an email now and again with the rate sheet from your lender, your banker, and you go with that. What's funny to me though, like I'll get a rate sheet that'll say 5.75%. And then I'll have a client working with them and getting 6.5. And I'm like, I thought you said they were 5.75 and I think they're getting 6.5. Oh, well, their credit score it's like the credit score plays such a role.
Oh yeah.
In that interest rate there.
Well, I just had a meeting with the lender today for lunch and they were telling me that they've got a program for first time. It doesn't have to be first home buyer, but they can't own another house. They can own land, but they can't own another house. So a home buyer, but they can't own any other property. That's 100% financing. I can't remember what the credit score limit was, but it was like 100% financing and the interest rate was like at 6, maybe slightly less than 6. And I was like, wow. Are you shitting me?
How are you doing that?
I don't know, but I love it. I mean, I don't know, man.
We've got some good programs here that are 100%. We have a 90-10. It's with the credit union, and they get 90% loan and a 30-year fixed, just a standard loan, and then the 10% is on a 10-year balloon. And I mean, it's no PMI.
Yep,
which is huge. So,
huge,
it's a great deal. But anybody that does that, they really need to stay in their home 5 to 7 years.
Yeah, because that additional finance is going to screw you if you don't.
Yeah, and
just the cost.
If you're 100% in, and you want year 2, you're going to be forking out money because your house isn't going to worth that much to cover the cost to sell.
I mean, unless we have another 2020, 2021, which I don't foresee that. But yes,
we'll have that again once rates drop down to 3% again, which will be never.
Probably never. yeah.
At least we were part of that, right?
I know. And hey, listen, I benefited from it. I want to look back at this and tell everybody I was a genius, but between you, me, and whoever's watching this, I got lucky as shit. We just decided we started looking again. This house came up. We put it under contract in February of 2021.
Oh, that's
at a
perfect.
2.625 interest rate. We did get in a multiple offer situation. We beat them out by $5,000. And now we're sitting on I think it's $2,800 mortgage for what would be a $900,000 house now.
Yeah.
And you couldn't, and that's why I'm kind of like, I understand why people don't want to move, but if I had that much money, I could use that money to buy down the rate if I needed to make it work, because there's just so much equity in that house right now. But I'm probably going to keep that one and rent it out.
I got lucky on a farm. I have a YouTube video that got caught on. Actually, my main pinned TikTok video uh, went nuts, but it was where we bought an old family farm. I went down to check my tree stands on our farm, and there was an auction sign up on a piece that was in our family for 95 years, but my aunt had sold it to somebody else. Well, it was up for sale, and I was like, holy shit. I called my dad. My dad lived 10 minutes away in town. I'm like, Dad, hey, the 160 is for sale. Are you frozen or focused?
No.
Oh, you're focused. Okay.
Sorry.
I had 160 acres, and I was like, Dad, it's for sale. By the time he got out there, he's like, I called my banker. We're all set. We can buy that. Let's go to the auction and get that, at the end of the month. He's like, we're set. And I was in the process of like, am I going to pay my house off? Now this comes up, and you got to put a big chunk of money down on a farm.
For land, yeah.
Well, then about 4 days before we go to the auction, my dad's like, oh, Timmy, you're going to have to buy that yourself. I don't think I want to take the risk. I'm like, fuck. So anyway, we bought it for $5,600 an acre, which it was $100 more an acre than what I budgeted for, but I was like, whatever, and I want this thing. And I knew the farm because my dad built it. And when I say he built it, my dad built the terraces. He had all the tile lines put in that. And he's just like, I know my dad, and I know
meticulous,
that's good farm ground. Well, CSR2 rating is 71, and down in Southwest Iowa, it rates anywhere from 45 to 72 is the top ground down there, and 100 is like the top. I don't know if you know much about farm ground, but like 100 means that's the most it generates the best crops.
Gotcha.
Well, based on that CSR2 rating, it's going for like 11, 12 grand an acre. So I bought 160 acres for $5,600 an acre back in 19, and now it's worth 11 or 12. So when you talk about equity, plus my interest rate on that is like 4% because I bought it when rates were 3%.
I know.
I mean, I would have to take the shirt off my back to keep that thing. And you know what's crazy about it? It still doesn't cash flow.
I don't understand that.
But my goal is to own the farm, own my dad's farm, when he's done or when he passes, and buy my brothers out, have it all. That's my retirement. Like if I can have all that paid off and done, it's going to bring me in a couple $100,000 a year for retirement.
That's awesome.
And that's all I need.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. How many months out of the year can you farm? Or what are you,
I don't farm. I cash rent it.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So the people who rent my dad's, which is right there, right across the road. Also, I already had them in place to rent mine. I'm like, hey guys, I'm going to try and get someone to rent it. And yeah, they're good people, great people. I could probably be getting more. But honestly, they're the kind of people.
Yeah, but it's just like,
they're kind of like, hey, we shorted you a little bit. We found some extra corn that you had in this bin, and here's a check for the difference. Like, oh, I would never have known. Like, oh, thanks.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing is like, you could do the same. You could talk the same thing about long-term tenants, raising rates on them. But if you get a really good one, you keep them at that rate and just leave them the fuck alone, because the extra money you make is not worth the headache you're going to deal with to turn it over.
Yeah. And, you get some of those big farmers that will pay, an extra $10 an acre or $25 an acre, but they might just trash your ground.
Yep.
Because they're just zipping through, getting it done and getting out. They don't treat it like it's theirs. It's worth it to have a good tenant for sure.
Absolutely.
So what are your goals for this year?
Fun. Goals for this year. I've got some lofty ones. So we did right under 660,000 in team GCI last year. And the goal this year is a 1.4, which is very aggressive.
That is very aggressive.
Very aggressive. But that was assuming we were going to be hiring agents, and we have yet to do so. It's taken a little bit longer, which is fine. But with the showing assistant model, I won't be bringing in much more annual income in GCI, but I'll have more time, and then I can hire another agent. So we'll see where it ends up. But I mean, right now, we're, like I said, my first quarter was the best it's ever been. I'm at like 130 137,000 if everything closes as it should. And at this point, I think we're good. But I mean, my next best first quarter was like 90 grand.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's unreal. And then I've already got about 55,000 under contract for April and May.
Awesome.
And I've got about 6 listings coming. I can't remember
Listings
how
are
much
so
it's
key
going to probably be about. Oh, it's so key, man. Because there's just no inventory. So it's like, and that was what I was talking about with my coach. He's like, listen, how many listings do you want to take over the next 6 months? Or how many listings do you want to close over the next 6 months? So I was like, to stay on goal with what I want to do, I would need 26 more listings to close in the next 6 months. So I need to, he's like, then you need to carry about 6 a month.
Yeah.
Or 6, having 6 listings active at all times. And I was like, all right, so let's just do that. Yep. He's like, where are you going to get it from? I'm like, shit. That's a good question.
So who's your coach? What program's your coach out of?
So I actually, I signed up with a program or platform called Level 8, and it's David Huffaker through Keller Williams.
Got it.
He's got an expansion team out of Nashville, but so the Level 8 platform is not an expansion model. It's just kind of basically they're white labeling all their services to other agents.
Yep.
And he coaches me directly. So
that's cool.
He's getting coached by the head maps coach at KW. Okay. And so I get to hear secondhand from the head coach of maps. So it's like I pay for it, but it's worth it.
Yep. I've had my same
just
coach for 7
that
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Who do you coach with?
Her name's Mary. She's with Tom Ferry Group.
Nice. That's awesome, man. I started with Core.
I've never heard of Core.
It was good. It was good. And then when I switched over to KW, a lot of the stuff they said was the same as Core. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to pay for it twice. So I just switched over to.
I had that conversation quickly with my coach. I said, I was like, basically, I don't want any fluff. I can be an asshole at times. I want you to tell me how it is, and I want you to hold me accountable. And she's not afraid to drop the F-bomb on me. And that's, that's what I need. Like, I mean, she'll tell me you're making up excuses. And I'm like, I absolutely am.
I am.
And I'm going to keep doing it.
And I'm going to keep doing it. And you're going to have to keep calling me out because I am a negotiator by heart, or by trade. So I'm going to keep coming at you.
But you know what?
It's so funny, man.
I get great ideas. I get great concepts. I get great, like a lot of the stuff. Like if I post something on a Wednesday afternoon, it's because I got out of the conversation with her and she dropped something and I was like, yep, I'm making a video about that. I'm making a video about that. So it's been good.
And that's great, man. I think it's just like anything. I mean, you can only take yourself so far without having someone else's influence because you just don't know what you don't know.
And it's a lonely business.
It's a super lonely business. And I don't think enough people talk about that and the strain it has on your relationships, especially with your spouse. Yours is in the business with you, so she probably understands more than most spouses do. But I mean, that was a struggle with me and my wife for the first, 3 or 4 years of having kids, well, I guess two or three, because she was like, well, I need you here. I'm like, I understand, but we have 2 more mouths to feed. I need to make more money.
And then you get
I need to figure out
the comments of, well, you're not doing anything right now, so you can come home.
But
I need to be disciplined.
Yes, exactly. And it's come to that. Like we've had conversations, we've gone to couples therapy to get around some of these things and just kind of talk through it. And, it was one of those things where the therapist was like, Tread, you're basically cheating on your wife with your job. And I was like, am I though? He's like, yes. And I understand that you're commission based. I understand that you need to focus on your work, but you also need to set aside time that is just your family time. Yep. And you've got to set those boundaries with your clients. Otherwise, you're going to lose your family.
Yep.
And I was like, well, that's not okay. So, so I was like, all right, cool. I get it. And it was just having that conversation.
Yeah.
and then following up with it with my wife and going, hey, listen, how can I be more present with you? What do you need from me that shows you that I care? Because you think I don't care, and I think I'm just providing. Like, I don't think I'm doing any detriment by working, because I feel like I'm doing what's best for our family's financial situation.
It's a love language, right? So, it's like your love language is I'm providing, I'm working hard for you guys. Everything I do, trust me, it's because I care about you and I want all of us to have a better life. And then you'll hear the I don't care about the money. And it's like, well,
you don't until you do.
Yeah. When your kids need to do stuff and you don't have the money to do it, you're going to sure wish that you had the money to do it. Because honestly, that's what matters, is being able to give your kids the life that you want them to have, that they, you think they deserve. Now, do they need to have all that stuff? Do they? Probably not. But yeah, I mean, that's what we do, right? Like, we want them to have a life.
100%. And I think that I had growing up, I didn't know this, but growing up, my grandparents had set up a trust for all the grandchildren's education. It wasn't something I don't have any fucking money right now from it at all. It gets spent. But I didn't know that. And my mom would take me to Payless to get, the BOGOs, buy one, get one. And they're the Fadidas with the 4 fucking stripes. And everybody, all my friends had Nikes and all that shit. And I found out later on in life that they didn't even have to pay for my education, because I went to private school. They didn't have to pay for my education. I was like, why the fuck am I wearing Fadidas? Yeah. You only need to have to pay for school. And she was like, you went through shoes so damn fast, it didn't make sense to buy $50, $100 pair of shoes. It was stupid. And I was like, and now I go, yeah, I see that now. It makes sense. But in 5th grade, when everybody else was getting Air Jordans, and
I never had them either.
I did get them, but I took my dad shopping and I wore his ass down.
See, I tried. So I didn't really try. I tried for a moment, right? But I mean, it was just my mom and I. My dad was a farmer back south, back when farmers didn't make any money, and it was just my mom and I in this town. And she was working, and like, she did everything she could for me. But I wasn't about to ask for $150 pair of shoes. I got the Nike. So I went to practice with Nike. Not even Nike Air, right? Like Nike. That's what I got. And I got made fun of. But you know what? It didn't matter.
Hey, but it made you a better person.
And so now,
because you went through that.
Right. And so when I say we want to be able to give our kids a life, and so we want to be able to choose. We want to be able to have the choice. Because I still don't do some stuff for my kids. Like, my kids, we do very well, but their friends have all this stuff. And my wife and I look at each other like, because I got teenagers, we look at each other like, why on earth? My daughter showed me her snap mat yesterday because of spring break. Almost every kid on her snap mats in Florida or Mexico. I'm like, I've never been on a spring break ever in my life.
No. I mean, no. And that's, and the other thing, and that's the kind of the thing is, like, I'd much rather take my kids across country in an RV than have them do, and there's going to be a point where they're like, that's the lamest thing in the world, Dad, I'm not doing that with you. But that's why I want to do it earlier. And that's why, like, we bought this house. It's on a creek. I've got a John boat. I'm teaching them about the water. They learned how to fish. Awesome. They're learning how to swim, or they learned how to swim. I'm teaching them how to fish. And just like, I want them to be able to take that boat out and go wherever, and I can trust that they know what the hell they're doing. Yeah. Because, and it's it's not a big boat. It's a little John boat, but it's that kind of stuff. I didn't have that growing up. I mean, I did, but it wasn't like in my backyard, and I had to go find people that had it. But it's not something that I look at as like, oh, we're doing so well, we're on the water, blah blah. Yes, we are, but it's not sexy water. One, two, it's a lifestyle that I want for them if they want it. Like, if they're like, I don't really want to fish, I'm like, okay, cool, I don't give a shit. Yeah. What do you want to do? You want to play piano? You want to do dance? You want to do sports? Whatever your lane is, I want to direct you. But at the same time, I want to give them all the options now, and they can make the decision what they want to do.
Yeah. And you want to provide for them so you can give them the option.
Exactly. And that's all money does is give you options.
Yeah.
That's all money does.
Yep.
And it can do a lot of worse
I'm going to start
things
taking my
too,
boy
but
down to the farm.
yeah,
Well,
that's
it can
awesome,
do
man.
worse things if you let them have the money.
100%.
Don't let
Yes.
them have the money.
No,
I'm
you
going
got
to
to
start
work
taking
for
my
it.
son down to the farm, and even though I'm not farming it, there's chainsaws and tree lines. You can go cut branches and move stuff, and yeah, get them out working a
Yeah.
little bit. The whole thing where each generation is losing like 1% of testosterone. The
Yeah.
males are, because they're not out.
But I got 2 girls, so I don't have to worry about that.
I got 4, so. But I got one boy that I need to make sure he's able to take care of all, protect all of his sisters, right?
That's right.
Someday
That's
I won't
right.
be able to.
That's right.
Anyway, well, I'm going to let you go, dude. I need one thing from you. Are you a basketball guy at all?
Not really.
You got a pick for the NCAA tournament?
No.
No. Oh man.
I mean, I'll make a guess, but it's going to be.
They may not even be in brackets.
Oh, I have no clue. No idea. I had 2 people send me brackets, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with this shit.
So
I don't even know,
who's your baseball team?
Pro or
pro.
Braves, but I've been to like 3 games in my life.
Yeah.
It just Charleston doesn't have any pro sports.
They have minor league, don't they?
They got a minor league team. Yeah, it's River Dogs, but they don't have any pro sports. I mean, River Dogs are okay. I'm weird. I don't watch that much sports at all, and my friends gave me shit about it.
Yeah.
But I play.
Yeah.
And I'd much rather play than watch somebody else play.
Right.
So, I mean, like going to a game, totally different. Watching baseball on TV, shoot me.
Yeah, I can't watch it on TV.
No, it's slow, man. It's a slow game.
We have a AAA team here in town, and one of my advertising I'm doing is I get the billboard for 30 seconds prior to the game. And so I'll send you that video that we did for that. That'll be 75 home games will be up on the billboard for 30 seconds prior to each game. But I'll send you that video, and I get to throw one first pitch. Do I throw a knuckleball?
Oh, if you could actually throw a knuckleball?
Oh, yeah, I actually can.
Then yes, of course. Fuck that catcher up.
Would that be something? He's up there. He's like, I'll be the next rookie.
There you go.
I am going to throw him a knuckleball, though, for sure.
Do it. I would. Yeah.
I got to get a little practice, make sure I don't throw it over the fence. But
I mean, as long as you get it there, doesn't really matter. As long as it makes it to the plate, you're fine.
Yeah, I'll have to get someone to record it. It'll be good.
Absolutely. Yes.
I should put writing on the ball so they can read it as it rolls in. All right, man. Well, you have a good weekend, and I appreciate you jumping on with me again after our internet flub up the last time.
It's all good, man. Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
And we'll check back in maybe in a couple months and see where you're at with your goal.
Sounds good, brother. Appreciate it.
All right. Keep selling. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Later, boss.